Hi, everybody. So this is a recording of Chapter 8, Here Where the Sunbeams Are Green, because we read Chapter 6 and 7 in the classroom together. Chapter 8. I'm exhausted by the time we get back to the Selva Lodge. It's tiring to be around someone who's always trying to be funny. Ken/Neth seriously needs to be reminded that we're 9 and 12, not 3 and 6. We're too old for pirate accents. Go and tell Kyle you're ready for Spanish, okay, girls? Got to head back to my big boy business at La Lava. Big boy business. What's wrong with this guy? Toodaloo! He shoots creepy friendly as he steers out of the parking lot after dropping us off. Rue was all droopy and yawny in the golf cart on the way over, and I'm sure she wants to take a nap just like I do. So I head toward her room. It wore me out seeing Dad like that. Let's not tell Kyle we're back yet, I say. I forgot to tell him we wanted a Spanish lesson this afternoon anyway. Yay! Rue whispers excitedly, skipping ahead of me. I look over at her surprised. A few seconds ago, she looked like she was about to fall asleep. But when we get back to our room, Rue doesn't flop down on her. Dun, dun, dun. I'll try to put this up. Sorry, guys. Oh, well. Bunk. I'll read it to you. Bunk. Instead, she starts grabbing things. Water bottle, sunblock bug spray, and shoving them into her backpack. Come on, she orders. Hurry up. She pulls my backpack from under the bed, which makes the very strange and incredibly creepy letter slide out from under. From under where she hid it. I kick the letter back into the shadows. Rue reaches into the closet and throws my raincoat at me. Quick, pack this. Excuse me, but who's the older sister here? This is our big chance, Rue says, talking fast. No Kyle, no Mom, no Ken. Now we can go figure out what's going on. What's going on where? I stand there, arms crossed, my backpack and raincoat relaxing on the floor while Rue freaks out. I told you. I had to show you something. Remember? Rue yanks some Jolly Ranchers from the front pocket of her backpack. Oh, good, she says, examining the bright handful. We have food. What's going on where? I repeat, as if I don't already know, as if I'm not already filled with dread. In the jungle, on the volcano, Rue says. Duh, she adds, but not in a mean way. Oh, so in the jungle, on the volcano, Rue says. Duh. Rue, I am your babysitter. I think we're sort of babysitting each other now, Rue says, but she's really not paying attention to me. She's tugging at the zipper of her overstuffed backpack. It's a tiny backpack. It can barely hold anything. I forbid you to leave this room, I tell her. With a huge final tug, she zips her backpack closed. Don't forget your raincoat, she says as she heads towards the door. You're going to need it. I can just use a jungle flower. What? She doesn't think I'm capable of turning one of those blue flowers into umbrellas? I'm offended, even though she's right. Rue, I repeat. I forbid you to leave this room. Mad, I forbid you to forbid me to leave this room. She pushes the heavy door open, and as soon as she steps out, it slams shut behind her. I run to the door, open it, and yell after her. I'm not coming. Mom will kill you. 10 feet away and counting, Rue shrugs her shoulders in that bratty way she does of hers. I close the door. For half a second, I lie down on Rue's bunk and pretend to fall asleep, betting she'll be back at any instant. But then I realize Rue won't come back. Of course she won't. She's way, way, way more stubborn than I am. So I shove my raincoat and water bottle into my backpack, run out the door and across to the backyard gate. She's only 30 or so feet up the trail, strolling slowly, knowing I'll be coming along. Hey, she says when I get to her. Hey, I say. We walk along together as though this adventure is something we both agreed to. I have to protect you, I say, to prove I'm not just here because Rue bossed me. I have to protect you, she says. Hello, is there an echo here? Hello, is there an echo here, 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 here? Dad used to do that, making echoing sounds at the end of sentences. He loves echoes. Once we went on a trip to the canyons in Utah. Echoes everywhere. Dad was so happy yelling up at the canyons. It made me sad to think of that time when Dad was happy, when we were all happy, and for some reason thinking of it makes me feel extra worried about me and Rue, worried about what we're doing. Oh, what we're doing right now, and what might happen in the jungle, and what kind of dangerous things there are in the world that we don't even know about. So I try one last time. Rue, we're going back right now. This is too dangerous. If you don't come back right now, I'm going to tell Mom. If you don't stay with me, I'll bite you, Rue says, speeding up, forcing me to speed up alongside of her. Okay, I'll admit it. I'm scared of Rue. Her bites can draw blood. For some reason, I don't even question her logic. If I don't stay with her, she'll bite me. But if I'm not with her, how can she bite me? Instead, I give in. If we get in trouble, I say in a voice that I hope makes her at least a little bit nervous. Then suddenly, without even wanting or trying to, I get excited just the way Rue is. I borrow the kangaroo hop in her step. The jungle gets darker and darker, louder and louder, stranger and stranger with each step. But for some reason, it feels more magical than terrifying. It's no surprise when Rue leads us off the normal path onto the invisible path. I gave up the fight a while back, but just to make sure, Rue turns to me and whispers, "I'll bite you," as she dives deeper into the jungle. On Invisible Path, I start to imagine we're two sisters in a fairy tale of a haunted forest, a place where sprites battle monsters. Sprites are like little people. This jungle feels older than history. The air smells of rotten eggs and flowers. Hanging above us, vines draped with moss, like the hair of witches. I feel shivery and dangerous and thrilled. It's fun marching up the volcano with Rue, past flowers brighter than any cartoon. A few huge blue butterflies flutter slowly overhead, and neon lizards dart by our feet. A trio of turquoise parrots flaps among the branches. Rue bounces along in front of me, even though it's practically impossible to see the path. She doesn't seem to have any trouble following it. A good companion for a tricky journey. Just me and Rue, on our own, exactly the way it should be. We can handle anything. Maybe we can even handle things better than Mom, a.k.a. Ms. Yoga Brain. We don't need anyone. We just need each other. Slippery roots stretch out to trip us. Huge ferns try to tickle and poison us, but we keep on and on and on. It seems like 50 years might have passed. Maybe we'll go back to the Selva Lodge and Mom will be a very old lady, still waiting for us after all these decades. Or maybe the Selva Lodge will be gone, taken over by the jungle, the pool, just an invisible rectangle under the dirt and leaves. Boy, her imagination is getting the best of her, huh? We hear the waterfall before we see it. It's a swift, rushing sound up ahead, and then we turn the bend, and there it is. A pure blue gush of water pouring out of the side of the volcano, 30 feet above us. And I mean pure blue. Blue like someone is standing up there dumping sky-colored paint off the ledge. That's a beautiful showing sentence, isn't it? Wow, blue, like someone is standing up there dumping sky-colored paint off the ledge. That's called a simile. When the water hits the stream below, it's still that crazy blue, and I can't even put words into how magical this whole scene is. The impact of the waterfall on the stream creates a cool mist, and Rue and I just stand there, feeling the mist on our faces. Which is a very splendid feeling, except for the fact that the mist reeks. That's a smelling word, but reeks is like a really strong smell. Reeks like rotten eggs. Man, it stinks, I complain as soon as I stop being thunderstruck from the beauty. Whatever, Rue says, shrugging. It's just a little bit of sulfur from the volcano. That's what makes it such an awesome color. So if you like the color, you gotta like the stink. Sulfur, I repeat. How did you even know that? Hey, check it out, Rue says, ignoring my question. Isn't that the back of La Lava? I've been so distracted by the waterfall on our left-hand side that I haven't even glanced at the right-hand side. But now I follow Rue's gaze down from our little waterfall lookout, and sure enough, there's the unmistakable glowing white back of the palace at La Lava. A long ways down the hillside, the bright blue stream flows directly toward La Lava, and then disappears beneath the palace, funneled out, I bet, to all those colorful pools on the other side. I'm confused, I confess. How can we be all the way over here, by La Lava? Oh, Mad, Rue sighs wearily. You're so bad with distances and directions. Oh, please stop with the compliments, I shoot back, but Rue's already launching herself across the stream, hopping from one mossy rock to the other. And I follow her over the dazzling blue water. I have to admit to myself that she was 110% right about coming up here. This is way more exciting than Spanish class or any other thing we might be doing. Soon after we cross the stream, invisible path steepens. As we clamber up it, I notice lots of extra blight lichen. Lichen are like little tiny green little bugs that feed off of the plant life. They grow also on the rocks, yellow and pink and purple and orange, because they feed off of the moss. Now we're going pretty much straight up the hillside, or I guess volcano side. And the path is just sort of clinging to it. On our right, it's practically a cliff, all messy and jungly down below. And then on our left, it's a black rock face stretching up and up. For the first time since we started, Rue's not marching. Instead, she is stepping very carefully, her legs shaking with her fear of heights. It's kind of miraculous that I'm not scared of heights, but I'm not. So I keep my eyes on her wobbly feet, ready to reach out for her if she slips. Rue moves slower and slower, and when she turns back to look at me with this weird expression on her face, I bet she's going to say, "Hey, Mad, I'm bored. Let's go back." She always pretends to be bored when she's nervous. But that's not what she says. She just says, "Mad," and lifts her finger and points. Ahead of us, the trail peters out, that means ends, peters out into a patch of jungle that looks, if you can believe it, lusher, that means more filled with dense ferns and jungly vines, lusher and more brilliant than the whole rest of the jungle. Trees heavy with bunches of red bananas, fat yellow mangoes, that's a beautiful fruit, dangling down, flowers in 100 different directions and colors. It's as strange and shimmery as something from a myth, another type of story that's a fantasy story. This glowing jungle grove crouched here between two cliffs, one falling away below and one stretching way up above. "I knew it," Rue whispers. I'm glad she at least knows to whisper. This definitely isn't the kind of place where you want to draw attention to yourself. I knew there was something up here. Yesterday, when I came a little way up the secret path, I knew, but then I had to turn around because I thought you guys might be starting to worry, plus La Lluvia was coming. Well, cool, I whispered to Rue, relieved that we can go back down now that we've reached the end of the invisible path and see what there is to see. I guess Kyle made us swear not to come up here because he was worried about the steep cliff, which is very cute of him. So in honor of him, we'll be sure to take it extra slow on the way down. Do you want to lead the way? But Rue starts walking toward the grove. Rue, I say, I meant the way down. She ignores me. Rue, I again say, trying to sound bossy without raising my voice. As wonderful, beautiful, amazing, etc. as this may be, it's simply not the kind of place you walk into. You just enjoy it from a distance for a few minutes and then head home. Not Rue, though. Rue runs right up to where the path ends. I notice a weird ringing sound in my ears. Maybe it's my own blood rushing around, but I have this feeling it's like the moan of the jungle warning intruders to keep out. I follow Rue to the end of the path. Let's get out of this freaky place, I whisper, but she's staring thoughtfully into the pathless muddle of leaves and vines and tree trunks. It looks like there's no way, absolutely no way, to even go a step farther. From here, I can see that the mangoes are actually more golden than yellow, and that the red bananas practically glitter among the shiny leaves. I spot a flower that's neon green, truly neon. I've never seen such a crazy flower before. It looks sort of like an iris, but 3 times larger than normal. I'm wondering if that chocolatey smell is coming from the neon flower when Rue suddenly hurls herself forward into the grove and vanishes. Hurls herself means throws herself like she takes a leap. Hey! I crow, Rue! I can't lose Rue. I whack forward through a patch of high ferns, probably rubbing up against tons of bugs and other poisonous things, just in time to see Rue's little bum waggling its way between a pair of moss-encrusted tree trunks. What? Jeez, my sister really is brave sometimes. And idiotic. There's barely enough of a gap between the trees to let a 9-year-old body squeeze through. I'm not at all optimistic about a 12-year-old body. Besides, I have zero, let me repeat, zero interest in bashing my way into a totally wild part of the jungle that's obviously abnormal or enhanced or haunted or something. So I pause there, frozen, waiting for Rue to squeeze her way back to me so we can return to the Selva Lodge and I don't know, go swimming or drink licuadas. That means liquids in Spanish. But then Rue's face appears again on the other side, staring back at me between the gap in the tree trunks. And for the first time ever, I spot a look of terror in her eyes. She quickly covers it. Hey, she whispers. That was fun. Come on. If it weren't for how terrified Rue looked for that one instant, I might have said, oh, I'll just wait here, thank you very much, Miss Fearless, because part of me has this paranoid feeling that once I go in, I'll never come out. But because of that expression I glimpsed on Rue's face, I find myself sighing and stepping forward and sucking in my breath and shoving myself between the trunks, skinning a knee, getting smeared with moss to follow Rue into this weirdness. When I emerge on the other side, Rue doesn't even thank me. She gives me a quick nod and forges ahead. The mangoes seem to ripen before our eyes as we press our way through layers of leaves. Leaves bigger than kites, than elephant ears, than 6th graders. That's another good example of showing, isn't it? Imagining what they look like. Flowers bloom at our feet. And at waist and face level, too. Flowers tower above us and reach out to the brush against us. These have nothing in common with the pretty little pastel flowers you might see in a florist shop in Denver. They're all strong colors, orange and mustard and maroon and purple and brown and black. They all look poisonous, and they all release rich, peculiar smells like chocolate and chili, dirt and honey, nutmeg and curry. Sweet and spicy senses and odors. The magnetic force that pulled Rue between the trees, I start to feel it pulling me too as I follow her inward, slipping over the roots and ducking beneath the vines. And from outside, the grove didn't look so large, hovering between the cliffs. But now that we're in it, it feels endless. I'm still scared. Terrified, really. But for some reason, the terror starts to feel farther and farther away, as though it's floating 10 feet above my head. After who knows how long, we come to a big hunk of volcanic rock with a trickle of steaming red water running down it. I have this half-second thought, wait, is that blood? Before I realize it's just that the rock is a reddish, probably from the minerals and the rust inside the rock. Rue is reaching out to touch the steaming water when my strange calmness vanishes because suddenly I hear something coming. Something coming! A rustling on the other side of the rock. Plus that water definitely looks hot enough to burn. So in a super bossy Rue style, I yank her away from the water and back to the underbrush where I pull one of those ginormous leaves across to hide us. I'm not just imagining things. There is something coming. Rue hears it too and looks up at me, and for the second time, I see terror in her eyes. I hug her with my free arm and feel her shaking, or maybe it's me shaking, or probably both of us trembling about whatever's going to happen next. What volcano monster is going to appear from behind the rock? What jungle witch is going to come claim Rue as her daughter? It's hard to believe we're still on the same planet as the Selva Lodge, as Ken/Neth and his dumb jokes, as pina coladas and miniature decorative umbrellas and coconut sunblock and yoga retreats in Denver. Here it comes, whatever it is. I squeeze my eyes shut and cling to our leaf. But then Rue pokes at me and I open my eyes and peek around our leaf. And what do I see? But two men in safari hats and those white jackets doctors and scientists wear, standing about 8 feet away from us on the other side of the steaming water. Relief washes over me. It's just people. Oh, people I can handle. It's the monsters I'd be scared of. Still, we've got to stay hidden because it's pretty obvious we should not be here. Their backs are to us. The taller one reaches upward, and it's only as he shoves his hands into what looks like pure jungle that I realize there's something there, camouflaged among the leaves. I just can't make out its box-like form amid the layers of green. Taller, that's the taller man, pulls a metal cage thing down. Zip, zero, zilch, he says to the shorter guy shaking the box. Big surprise, and that movie star wants someone's head, I hear. A trap is useless and irrelevant in this situation. Shorter, that means the shorter guy says, so softly I can barely hear him. You're one to talk, Taller retorts. We're just trying to do everything we possibly can. Shorter doesn't reply. You've got to find another, Taller continues. His voice is annoying. It's pretty friendly. Gotta. If you don't, find a new one by the gala. Shorter nods sharply. Look, Taller says in the snobby way as though he thinks Shorter is pretty darn stupid. Chevaliers under some major pressure. Clients on one side, investors on the other. Investors are the people who put a lot of money into this resort because they want to make money from the guests who pay for it. So it's kind of like they invested in something, they put their money in something, they built it up, and then they want it to bring a lot of famous rich people, and they'll charge them a lot of money to stay there. And then they'll make more money. So there were clients on the one side, famous rich people, investors on the other. The old rock and hard place routine, like, we got to get this done. The investors have no idea where it comes from, but we got to keep it that way. And the sorts of clients we're getting around here these days, who'd have guessed it? But nowadays, these last 9 months or whatever it is, ever since that loud-mouth rock star, everyone who's anyone wants what we got. And these people are not familiar with the word no. So she's got all kinds of super rich folks from all over the world breathing down her neck. And when she feels the squeeze, we get the quadruple squeezed, okay? Shorter nods even more sharply. Hey, Taller says, I'm not saying this isn't a bit of a slipshod operation. Yeah, people have gotten in over their heads, but this is just what you gotta do when this kind of opportunity comes along. We never planned to stumble into a gold mine, and sure, there's some scrambling going on, but there's a heck of a lot of money at stake. So it's do what you gotta do, you know? Rue pokes me hard, but I can't take my eyes off the scene. Sometime in the next 4 days, Taller says in his mean, friendly way, you gotta. or we're going to be dealing with a crowd of extremely angry, extremely rich people. A royal PR disaster. PR disaster means public relations. And so if these mean, angry, rich people don't get what they want, they're going to go ahead and post things on social media and in the paper and on the news. And then La Lava Resort will be bad news. A royal PR disaster. It's all on you, buddy. We're just asking you for one right now, just so that all the right people are happy at the big bash. Besides, Taller pauses, seeming to relish the drama, you know what'll happen if you don't find it. Shorter stops nodding and just freezes. Rue keeps poking me. I keep ignoring her. Well, there you have it, Taller says, reaching up to put the trap back up in the tree. Before Saturday, it has to be. We can't shut down. Do you realize how much we stand to lose each week if we're closed? But it's not really a question. Millions of dollars, Taller tells Shorter. Mix your current failure with no progress at all on the synthesis. Synthesis is like pulling things together. Or cloning. Whoa, cloning. Cloning is when you take a cell from a live organism and you try to have it recreate in a scientific laboratory. That's serious stuff, guys. So this is what they're trying to do. Mix your current failure, that means something they didn't catch in the cage, with no progress on cloning it, and we're getting close to being up a creek. So that's an expression for totally failing. It'll be months, if not years, on the synthesis and cloning, Shorter murmurs. Lab wizardry like that requires patience. Time and patience. He has a wonderful, calm voice. Thanks, genius, Taller says nastily. He's the worst kind of person. Soon you're going to be informing me that it's impossible to locate any eggs. Eggs? And even more impossible to locate any females. Females? And totally impossible to make them in captivity. Wait. Poke from Rue. We've got to keep our eyes on the prize, buddy, Taller announces. For now, just find us another to tide us over, and keep imagining the day when you and I and a number of others will be as rich as God. Blah! I watch a shiver run down Shorter's spine. That could very well have been the last one, Shorter says quietly, intensely. You know that as well as I do. Such a wonderful voice. A wonderful, familiar voice. Dad? Of course it's Dad. I look over at Rue. So that's what she's been poking me about. And we grin at each other. We have our eyes all over them. Taller says in his awful way, you know that as well as I do. Dad's head droops forward. You gotta put in dawn to dusk days, Taller tells Dad. Before dawn tomorrow, Dad murmurs, at the East Trail, as usual. Whatever you say, boss, Taller says, but he smiles meanly when he calls Dad boss. Pip, 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 Rue chirps beside me. What the heck, Rue? Both men spin around to stare at the layers of underbrush where we're hiding. I freeze, clinging to our leaf, willing myself not to tremble. I hold my breath, and beside me I can feel Rue doing the same. Yes, it's Dad for sure. Dad! But I've never seen him looking the way he does now, which is scary. His voice may sound more normal than it did when we saw him at La Lava, but his eyes look frightened. Dad is frightened. Impossible, but I can see that it's true. I'm so worried about Dad that for a half a second I forget to be worried about what will happen if Taller pushes through the vines and lifts the big leaf and sees us there. But thankfully he turns back around. Unusual bird call, eh? Taller says. Dad is still staring right at our leaf. I have to work really hard to stop my hand from waving at him. Rue squeezes my wrist and I squeeze hers. This doesn't seem like the best time to have a little reunion with Dad. Think that was one of them, Dr. Wade? Taller jokes as he strolls around to the other side of the volcanic rock. Mr. Bird Guy, he sneers. Mr. Bird Guy. Dad turns away, tiredly, following Taller. And I finally feel like I can breathe. I'm just releasing my held breath when suddenly there's a hand cupping my mouth. Beside me, Rue starts to squirm, so whoever has it has grabbed both of us. Panicking, I twist around to get a look. Our captor's wearing a mask, which seems to be made from a green t-shirt with eye holes cut in it. He's also wearing a green t-shirt on his body and a pair of jeans. He's strong and pulls both of us through the underbrush, still cupping our mouths so we can't make any noise. I'm sure Rue's slobbering all over his palm to annoy him, and extra sure she's trying to bite him. But he's really tough, and after a while, both of us stop squirming. Strangely, the second we stop squirming, he lets go of our mouths and grabs our wrists, still pulling us through the jungle. What? Rue starts. Shh, he says sharply. Since we don't want him to grab our mouths again, we stay quiet. The incredible thing is that he leads us right back to the gap in the trees where we entered the grove. And I almost want to be like, thanks, because I seriously don't think Rue, and definitely not I, could have found this spot. He lets go of us so we can wiggle through the mossy gap. First Rue and then me, and as soon as I'm through, Rue takes off running, and I follow her while the guy in the mask works on squeezing his way between the trees. He's bigger than we are, and I really do think he might get stuck. Not that I'm going to hang around to find out. We're free. Until we get 20 feet down the path to the super steep part where Rue has to stop running because her legs are shaking, and I hear the masked man rushing up behind me, and I know he's going to grab us again, or maybe he'll just push us off the cliff. We should have listened to Kyle, or who knows what. I'm ready to slap his hands away from me and try to bite him or whatever, though I've never bitten anyone or fought anyone before. That's Rue's thing. But he doesn't touch me. Instead, he says very calmly, focus, Ruby. Pretend you're just walking across your bedroom. Go as fast as possible. I turn back and stare at Kyle. His hair still sticking up all crazy from being under the t-shirt mask, which he's now crumpling into a ball and trying to shove into his pocket. Rue looks back at him and gives a huge grin. Oh, she says to Kyle, you're not evil. Keep moving, Kyle says without cracking a smile. Kyle doesn't speak again, except to the occasional command, faster, faster, until we've turned off the invisible path onto the normal path. You swore on your father's life you wouldn't go down that path, he says. I have this strange sensation like I can actually feel his fury, anger, making the air around me heavier. I swore I'd never go down it, Rue replies. I never swore I wouldn't go up it. Faster, he says, ignoring her obnoxiousness. He's not breathing hard, even though we've been running practically the whole way. We barely even slowed down to cross the sky blue stream. I'm out of breath from the pace and from being terrified and from worrying about everything, but mainly I'm just grateful for each footstep separating us from that grove, from that man who was talking at Dad in that awful way and saying those things that made just enough sense to fill me with a deep uneasiness. Man, I was really scared back there, Rue gasps happily. Yeah, I whispered, almost nauseous with the memory of Dad's frightened face. This is exciting, Rue breathes. More scary than exciting, I tell her. More exciting than scary, she corrects me. I glance back at Kyle, who's glaring at Rue. Rue, I beg. But she just grins and changes the subject. Hey, does anyone know why Dad was wearing that flashing green light around his ankle? Flashing green light around his ankle? Oh, I didn't catch that before. It's going to rain soon, Kyle says, ignoring the question. What flashing green light, I say? That thing, Rue says impatiently, around his ankle. It blinked green every other second. What's wrong with me? Do I not have eyes? Why is Rue always saying things I don't? Oh, is all I say. Kyle, Rue says. Dagami. Dagami. What does that mean again? I know I learned it in Spanish at school. I don't know, Kyle says quietly. But the way he says, I don't know, makes me pretty sure he does know. Tell me what's up with that green light, Rue insists. Digame. Oh yeah, digame means tell me. How does Rue know 1,000,000 times more Spanish than I do? Kyle doesn't say anything. Fine, then, Rue says. Don't tell me. I don't need you to tell me. I already know. Kyle still doesn't say anything. I bet you anything it's a tracking device like they use on birds and other animals, Rue announces. Someone is keeping track of Dad. Right then there's the enormous whooshing sound that I now recognize as the start of La Lluvia. La huge, crazy, gigantic lluvia, which is about to make all these trees sway like flowers. I think Kyle yells, run! Or maybe it's Rue. Or maybe it's even me, but it's impossible to hear anything and we all start running like crazy. Wow, that's a great chapter. That was a really good one filled with a lot of information. I know it's kind of long. I take my time reading it, but I think it was worth it. I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. I'm going to write down some questions I have. Okay. Well, I will read the next chapter maybe tomorrow and post it for you guys. Have a great 4 days. Wow. Enjoy the adventures. Bye now.